Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today we are back out on the Land Rover Discovery 4, and this job today is all about upgrading the rear brakes. You would have seen from previous videos that I've upgraded the front brakes. Now it's time to add the kit to the rear brakes, which includes the shoes, the drum shoes, and the discs themselves and pads. So let's get over and have a look at the kit. So everyone, here is the rear brake kit upgrade that I'll be doing to my LR4, and everything about it is heavy. I will leave a link also to the front brake upgrade kit that I fitted, again from the same company, Powerful UK Limited. Great place. They put all the kit together so you don't even have to think about what bits you need or what bits you don't. It all comes fully done. Here is the dot floor 4 fluid that I'll be changing as well, because I'm going to do a brake fluid change. This is the kit that you can use to do it as yourself, so it's a vacuum bleed kit. You can stand on the front brake if needed, but as I'm doing this by myself, that's the kit I'm going to be using. But let's just have a quick look around the bits. So these are, again, the EBC brake pads, the same as the front ones. Really, really good performance. No screeching, no grabbing, no nothing. Very smooth and do the job really well. You have the rear brake shoes. Mine is a 2016 Landmark, so it is one of the last ones off the production line for the LR4. I doubt that they've ever been changed. So I've got a, the kit can come with this or can come without it. I opted for the kit as well because I thought it might make sense to do the shoes with all the fittings, as you can see in between, at the same time. Just makes sense. They also do all these little cool things, which are the little bits and pieces that you need from the bits that hold the brake pads themselves, the clips, to the holding nuts on the discs, another little cap cover, more of those clips, the sliding bolts. I do believe there's 2 sizes to these sliding bolts. I think there's ones for slightly different variants, but I'm not too sure, but these should be the right ones. You can measure them as you take the old ones off, and again another set as well. So all comes in the kit, so you don't even have to think, which is great. And then the piece de resistance is obviously the discs themselves, and they are magical. Look at those, fantastic, zinc covered, so they don't rust. And I'll show you the ones on the front as well, even after they've done a good amount of mileage now, so you can still see the zinc covering. Just superb. So fully vented, drilled as well, with obviously the bars there that clean the pads as it spins. So it's a really nice kit. Again, about 230 quid all in for all of this, ready to fit. So let's get out to the car and I'll walk around what I've put the car into in terms of position, ready to fit this fantastic kit. Okay, first things first, apologies for the wind in the background. It is a pretty windy day, but just to give you a perspective of how I've jacked the car up. So firstly, you have to put it into full off-road mode, so that's its highest setting in the suspension. And then I simply put the jack stands at the bottom of the shocks, which are a nice sturdy place to hold the car in position when you remove the wheels. Obviously you need something pretty substantial, so a good decent sized jack that allows you to lift these cars, because they are very heavy. But once you've got it off the ground and those are in place, we can start to remove the wheels and get into the brake system. Okay, so the wheels are removed and you can see that the disc itself, it's almost, I mean it does feel warped, but it looks like it's sort of grabbing as well. So I need to just have a look at the caliper. It should be all okay because I greased it up a few weeks back, but there's definitely something that doesn't look quite right, and it should have that polished feel to it, which it doesn't. So here's that cap that we saw in the packs that we need to take out. That helps adjust the pads on the inside of the disc, or inside of the drum part of the disc. We have the holding screw here, which you can see, and you need like these sort of star-shaped type tools to remove that. Hopefully this should come apart pretty easily. I did these, I want to say about 3 years ago now. Just the discs and the pads, that is. But yeah, let's start taking this apart and seeing what's what. Okay, so you would have seen me remove the caliper and the caliper holding bracket. That all came apart pretty easy. It's for the caliper bracket itself, it's 15mm 12-sided spanner, or if you've got them, you can use the sockets as well. So 12-sided, that's what they look like there. Just so you know, that's the caliper bracket, and these are the sliding ones, which that one they should just pull straight out. So, but we've got new ones for them, so that should move more freely. If they don't move freely, then obviously you'll have a bit of unwear on your pads, which I think mine are there or thereabouts the same anyway. But next step to do then is we're going to undo this one. These can be a bit of a pig, so I recommend just squirting in some penetrating fluid just to help with that. And also, because we're going to move the actual disc itself, now's a good time to put your handbrake off. Obviously I've got jack stands that the rear's on, but at the front make sure you've blocked it as well, just to be on the safe side, so when you do remove it nothing moves. So we'll do that, undo this one and remove the disc. Okay, so you'd have seen me loosen off the disc, and a top tip here is make sure you put the car in neutral. Now, ideally you should really take the handbrake off and put the car in neutral before you start on the highest setting of suspension. So those are the three main things that you should have the car in before you start the work. Now the reason being is that in this particular gearbox you have to put your foot on the brake to put it into neutral, and if you've got your caliper off you will shoot your piston from your caliper out, which will be a whole bunch of nightmares all at once, so you don't want that to happen. So the reason being in neutral is then you can rotate the disc. Obviously with the handbrake off you should be able to rotate it easily. If your handbrake's too tight, which I think mine is, or there's something not quite right inside, it's very difficult. Now I don't know if it's going to zoom in. I think it's just not enough light. Let's see if I can get a bit of light in there. There's like a star shape. The best way to describe it is like an end of a screw that has little stars that stick out, and the idea is that you get your screwdriver, flat-headed screwdriver, and just rotate it up or down, and that's the adjustment for the drum pads. Ideally you have to just undo them slightly, because then that allows you to take the disc off. So that's what I'm going to do, rotate that down or up just to loosen them off, and then remove the disc. So there is the star shape, which in this case I was scraping down, and as you move it down like this, it releases or tightens up the pads, so the drum pads, so it then frees up the disc, and then the disc can be pulled off, so nice and easy. So I'm going to clean all this up, and then we're going to start to remove the pads themselves. The easy thing now to do is take some pictures of all the fittings so you can see what positions they are in currently, so when you do remove it you know how everything goes back together. So these spring-loaded clips need to come down on both sides. The adjuster you then wind out to remove that spring there, and then once you've removed that adjuster and spring, this whole piece should be able to lift off as one, and you might just be able to make out there's a plate that just sits underneath that spring. You can notice that the spring end is on the left hand side, and then this pad here, or this shoe, should have behind it an attachment that joins to the handbrake cable. So let's remove this and see if that's all right. Okay, so we've got the old drum shoes out with all the fittings, and here are the new ones with some of the fittings, and the idea is really to copy, make sure that they go together in the right order, in the right places. These pins here, just a tip, I'll get one of the old pins, they feed from behind, so you put it through. If I can just make that hole out. There we go. So they feed through like that on there, and that comes through the brake shoe and then is held down by those clips, the ones that we removed first. So let's start getting these put together and reassemble the hub. Now we've got everything locked in. You can see the springs here, these here, which if you use a big screwdriver and push down and slide, they slide in pretty easy. and then just underneath here, this main spring and the adjuster, and then just underneath, if it will focus, there is a small spring that joins to the bottom of the right hand shoe here and into the backing plate here. Very hard to see, but that one is there. Okay, so you can see that the new disc is installed, and through this hole here, and I know it won't focus because it's it's just too dark in there, you twist that star piece that I showed you earlier. Basically you want to twist it until the brake locks, and that means the shoes have pushed against the drum hub on the disc, and then you back it off probably about 4 or 5 turns so it moves freely. Do that both sides, and then both sides should be nice and smooth when you turn. Obviously when you do turn it, it's got the drive of the gearbox even though it's in neutral. Oh, as you can see, it's a bit windy. So yes, that is now fitted, both sides, drums, new shoes, springs, all of that good stuff. And now we'll put the caps back in, seal that off, and start fitting the new pads and reattach the calipers and the caliper brackets. Okay, so there is the completed disc, and the caliper is fitted along with the new brake pads, as you can see just in there. And it's all come together quite nicely. Looks really nice with the gold finish, which obviously is zinc coated to stop it rusting. So what do these look like after they've done a few thousand miles? Well, I can show you. They look like those. So that's the front ones that I had done, exactly the same. They hold up quite well, they don't tend to rust. Let's just have a quick look on the other side. Get a nice mirrored finish. And I'd say they do the job really well. And here is the other back rear. So yeah, all together it's come really nicely. So that is the new discs, pads, shoes, all the internals of the shoes, for the rear handbrake, and it was the original. That's the 2 discs. They look pretty worse for wear. There's a lot of warping on the underside of these as well, but yeah, as I was saying, these are the original Land Rover shoes, so they've been on there for the best part of 5 and a bit years. There's a little bit of meat left on them still, but some big chunks and stuff out of them. They look a bit yeah, warped. They're not completely smooth either, so that might be the reason why I've got a little bit of wobble at the back while driving. So job is a good one. That is how you do an LR4 brake upgrade from the powerful UK limited kit, which is all good. So that's the kit fitted, and they look really good, as did the front ones. So as time wears on, they should have that nice mirrored finish. So great discs, great pads, and the shoes themselves ultimately needed changing because they've been on the original shoes since the car was built back in 2016. So the kit itself is super robust. It looks the part, and I guess the top tip on this one is just make sure that you've worked tirelessly to make sure that the shoes and everything line up when you fit them back to the hub with the backing plate. There's a lot of fiddly bits with springs and clips that you've just got to make sure that they're in the right position when they go back on, just to save any nightmares down the road, as they say. So take a couple of pictures before you start to disassemble the brake shoe mechanism, just so you get all the right bits in the right places. But thanks again, as always, for watching. Thanks for following, and the next videos will be along very soon.